means you have to use the soft skip and the pull-up filters to de-telesen to get it back to progressive frames. You always want to de-interlace and de-telesen. The in-player manual always recommends you leave it progressive or leave it interlaced or telesend for quality purpose, but that's absolutely ridiculous. You always de-interlace and de-telesen your videos. They compress better and they look better, because most of the time you're going to be watching them from a computer, and you will see interlaced content. It looks like shit on a computer. A television displays all video information in an interlaced manner, and when a DVD player's even when a DVD player plays a DVD that is progressive the entire way through, or in this case a telesen DVD, what that DVD player has to do is interlace it on the fly before it hits the television. Televisions cannot display anything but interlaced content. That is why they use the telesen process. It's like it takes some of the processing overhead off the DVD player. It takes some of the burden away from the DVD player and hard codes it into the video. Well, progressive video is perfect for computers because it's whole picture frames, but the DVD player has to interlace it on the fly as it plays it, and that explains a little bit about that. Alright, so now you see how to tell if it is interlaced. You get all this crap, switching frame rate. It might only do it twice throughout the whole movie, but it doesn't matter. If it is not interlaced, which means you won't even see it say switching frame rate not one time. You won't see it once. And everything starts off at 29.970 frames per second. You'll see that right here before it says opening video decoder and all this other crap. You'll see it towards the beginning of the output. It'll always say 29 frames per second, which means interlaced. And then down as it starts playing, it'll start saying other stuff. Well, if it doesn't, that means it never changed frame rate to begin with, which means it is interlaced all the way through the movie. If it switches at all, that means it is progressive or a telesend all the way through the movie. And remember, telesen is a mix between whole progressive picture frames and interlaced frames to make it a 29 frames per second movie out of 24 frames per second picture frames. And then if you see it only switch once to progressive, that means the entire movie's progressive, but you should still apply a pull-up and soft skip video filter just to be sure that you remove all the flags out of the video that might accidentally tell something that this is telesen content. It's probably throwing a lot at you at once. I'll try to cover this more in later videos that you should be watching before this video, so that you've got a little bit of a primer for it. Alright, now we're going to go over to we'll go down here to SAW. There we go. Alright, here you've got three VOBs in the same directory and one shell script. Well, you use the same process to do all of your video filters. You go through the movie, and that's 1.78 to 1 ratio. Look, you don't even have to crop it. That's perfect. So you just, for this one, you would go -VF for video filters, and then go pull up, all one word, PULLUP, comma, soft skip, all one word. You have to use soft skip and pull up if it's not interlaced. And it has to be in that order, pull up and then soft skip. And then we don't have to crop it, so we'll just do D-size equals 1.78 because it's a 16:9 ratio. And that takes care of that. It looks absolutely no different because we're not changing anything about it. We're just making sure we pull out any flags that are in the video. Now space -AF for the audio filter chain, then volume, and I already happen to know this happens to be, actually I don't remember, it might be 8, and then comma vol norm equals 1 to use the first method of normalization.
No. What's the last thing you remember? Nothing.
Alright.
I went to bed in my shithole apartment and woke up and
I can clearly hear what they're saying with the volume halfway up. Then find a noisy part in the movie. You can hit up to skip. If you hit left or right, it skips back and forward about 10 seconds at a time. If you hit up, I believe it skips back and forward maybe 1 minute at a time. I don't remember. And I'm having trouble finding a loud part in this movie. That sounds loud. That sucks to be her. Alright. And you can hit enter or escape to get out of the movie. Anyway, alright, so it didn't blow out my speakers with the volume. It was loud, but it didn't blow out my speakers, so we know we're good. Anyway, yeah, back and forth, or left and right means skip forward or backwards 10 seconds at a time, I believe, and up and down means skip forward or backwards about a minute at a time. Alright, so there's our filter chain for the first Saw movie. So what we're going to do, which I've already done, I've already ran through all these movies, you would copy this part, which is only in here by itself. When you first see this file, it's only going to be like that, and it's also going to be missing the filter chain, which you plug in. I pretty much do all the legwork for you. All you have to do is plug in your filters. And where you got multiple movies in the same directory, you just copy and then paste once for each movie. Alright, after that, make sure check your D size. That's the most that is the biggest thing I always forget to do, is check my D size. Make sure my D size matches my profile. Make sure I'm using the right profile for the type of video I'm using. Otherwise, you're going to be pissed off. And quality, Q1 is the default setting in the file when you download it. You can leave almost all movies at Q1, which is 2200 kilobits per second. I use very high quality video encoding. If you want less than that, you can go Q2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which I believe goes all the way down to 1400 kilobits per second. I don't go any lower than that. Some people try to fit DVDs onto a CD so they could take them different places and watch them. That's fucking stupid. Burn them on a fucking DVD and take them someplace and watch them. But burn them high quality. If you do 2200 kilobits per second, for every 15 minutes of a movie, you'll have 250 megabytes of storage. So, in other words, you'll have 1 gigabyte per hour of movie. So, the average movie is 1.5 gigs when you're done. That is very high quality. It is even higher quality, if you can believe it or not, than the original DVD material. That's because the X264 codec smooths out certain parts of DVD that the MPEG codec that DVD uses that MPEG codec couldn't smooth out. Now here's the second biggest mistake I make when I have multiple files in the same directory. Copying and pasting this, forgetting to change the VOB, asterisk VOB, which is wildcard VOB, forgetting to change that. If you don't, it's going to grab the first VOB it finds and transcode it 3 fucking times, and you're going to be pissed off. And so make sure you give the VOBs each a different name, like 1.vob, 2.vob, 3.vob, and then in this file go 1 VOB, 2 asterisk VOB, or .vob if you want, 3.vob, etc. 1 and 1, because you're doing 2 passes, 1.vob, 1.vob, and then I don't have the second movie, so it'd be 3.vob and 3.vob, and then 4.vob and 4.vob right here. Alright, now the third biggest mistake that is probably the worst, because it's like you got everything else right, but you forgot one thing, which totally just screwed you, and that is the output. On the first pass, as you see, you don't output to anything because you're just gathering statistics. On the second pass is when you actually write the file. Well, forgetting to change the name of each file for each movie means you're going to write the same 3 different movies, the same damn file, which means you just spent 3 movies. That's probably 36 hours, maybe, depending on if you're transcoding more than one movie at the same time. That could be 36 hours of transcoding you just did for nothing. Alright, so make sure you change the output name for each VOB that you've got in here. Alright, one thing, I'm going to try to find a widescreen movie real quick to point out. We'll go to Silent Hill. And in case I forget, I hope I don't forget, movies like Silent Hill, Sony movies, I've actually seen it once on a Lionsgate film too, uses, what is it, Arcos, however you pronounce it, which is a certain copy protection method developed by, well, crap, I don't even remember the name of the company, Macrovision. It's like a rip guard prevention. You cannot directly dump the VOB on your hard drive. Well, M-Player's got a way around that. Where am I going? Silent Hill. I can't think and talk at the same time. There we go. Alright, Silent Hill's widescreen. And by widescreen, we don't just mean 16:9. We mean widescreen, 2.35 to 1. It would help if I say M-Player first. Now, on the back of the DVD, it might say 16:9 because, as you see, this is 16:9. They put this black border in here. It's not just shown with the movie. It's actually hard-coded. That is a part of the picture frame. Black borders waste CPU overhead, and they